Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back if you're returning. Today we are doing a rebalance and or design change on Alma. And this is the set she had last time, the blue winter set. It's been about 3 weeks and she doesn't have any lifting or breaks or anything else. So I'm gonna get into removal here. I've got my dust collector on. And I'm using my Not Polished e-file on a speed of about, I think it was at about 12 or 18. It was at 18. And I have the 3-course safety bit I showed you guys in my unboxing video. This isn't the same one, but it's, it's not the same exact one that came in my box, but it's the same bit. Anyway, you can see this makes very quick work of removal. Almost all of my clients get a complete design change every time. When you're working with colored acrylics, that's kind of the hassle of it, especially when someone wants dark colors. It's hard to redesign a set. You can't do just a fill. I mean, if I just filled these in with blue acrylic on in her growth areas, then she'd have the same exact set again. So it's kind of tedious sometimes, but at the same time, I love working with colored acrylics. I love doing design changes, and so I'm really grateful to have that e-file, and that bit just really, really changed it up for me, because this was the worst part, honestly, but now it doesn't take that much time. So today she wanted to do a New Year's set. So we looked at some of my stickers and things just to get, and some glitters just to get an idea of design. I mentioned the last video where I did these nails on her. Okay, let me back up. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So when I was filing, sometimes when you do removal, it's a very fine line to getting all the acrylic off to taking the nail off. So sometimes you'll get the nail down so fine that it pops off. You've taken off too much. So that's what I did there. I overfiled that one, and I overfiled another one that pops off later in the video. You'll see it's a little bit comical, actually. Well, not really, but yeah. So I'm going to push back the cuticles. After I get the removal done, I'm pushing back the cuticles, and then I'm going to go in with prep. So I'm going to take my ball bit. I have this on a speed of 8 because I want it to do a really, really good buff and just remove that dry skin. And then I'm going to go in with, I don't even know where I got this bit that I'm using next. It's kind of like my Kiara Sky bit, but it isn't. It's smaller. And I use it when I have just a small amount of growth area, because I don't want to try to get a large bit in there to get the cuticle off of her nail plate. So it's just a smaller bit. This one here, it's the same as my Kiara Sky, but just smaller. I don't remember where I got this. I think maybe Profiles Backstage. I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to go in and remove the cuticle, but I'm going to do this very, very gently. It doesn't need much work. I'm just getting the dead skin off and then stopping, because since this nail has acrylic on it, and the acrylic needs to be filed, and the shine needs to be removed from her natural nail, and we need to make the acrylic shaped correctly, and we need to make it flush to her natural nail, I'm going to use a sanding band on a speed of 2, which is what I'm doing right here. Even on a speed of 2, this will burn, this will bite you or your client with this e-file, so be very careful. So I have it on a speed of 2 to remove and make flush the the acrylic, and to take the shine off of her natural nail. So I'm doing all of that in this one step here. And so while I'm doing that, I'm going to talk and tell you what I was going to tell you. Oh, Alma likes blue in every one of her sets. So she didn't want all of the blue removed here. You guys are going to notice in this video, by the way, a lot of jerking. I don't know if it was just she was just moving a lot, or some of it I know was me, because the camera mount, in having to move my camera to be able to zoom in while I'm working versus zooming in during the edits so it doesn't make it blurry for you guys, has put the camera in a weird spot for me, and it kept knocking me in the forehead and driving me nuts. So I wanted to test these Kiara Sky foils that I got, because remember when I unboxed them, I told you guys I don't know how much acetone it will hold and if it will do an actual soak off, and you see there that it did. It was great. And it was mess free, no soaking in a bowl. If I was doing a whole soak off with all 10 fingers, I might just use the bowl, but I don't know. So I'm using this sanding band on a speed of 2 as well. But I'm going to be on her nail plate just a little bit longer because I do have the clear bead of acrylic here that I don't need to remove all of it at all. In fact, you don't want to, because since it's clear, you definitely don't want to be doing over prep on any of her natural nails. So I'm just getting the edges off. You can see where you can kind of see that some of the acrylic isn't flush. That's all I'm doing. And I'm going to stop at that point. I'm going to file her natural nail. I'm going to put on a new tip and keep it moving. So what I was mentioning about her wanting blue, she always wants blue. So I didn't want to do a complete removal of the blue because she wanted these nails to have stars for New Year. And so I pulled out all my glitters that were stars, and she wanted, I have a lot of star glitter. So she chose 3 or 4. We laid out her design, and we're going to do a pixie on the thumb, and she wanted red and blue and stars. So that's what the set will be. And so basically what I was getting at is all her sets are blue. Her Valentine's set that she's going to do, we already have planned, and that one's going to be blue. So you can see that's a beautiful, healthy soak off. Her nail is pristine under there, as it should be. I'm going to use Young Nails glue to put on this tip, and that was a Not Polish, no C-curve, XXL coffin tip. And I kind of pulled it off and then re-glued it back on because I've mentioned to you guys before, I like to aim my tips downward so they don't end up sticking up. Once you have glued it on, sticking up at an angle, or if someone's nail plate grows naturally in an upward angle, you're never going to recover from that. Once you lay acrylic, the nail's just going to be sticking up, and it just looks so horrible. I've seen it in other sets, and I've done it myself multiple times. So I'm going to be using a lot of clear in this set, and I was just showing you that I'm going in with Acrylic clear. Right now I'm using my Chiarosky primer. After I was done with these nails, I did go in with Swipe, clean off the nail plate, and then I'm using my Chiarosky primer, which is my go-to Holy Grail primer. It's the only one I use. I don't use 2 or 3 or anything like that. And then I'm going in with a small bead of clear. I'm going to be using her clear, meaning Lucy's Acrylic clear, for this whole set, for all of my encapsulating, and they just come out fabulous. The workability of it, the clearness of it, it's right up there with Chiarosky. I love it. Look how nice it performs. Now, Chiarosky is my favorite clear for clearness, but if you've ever used it, especially if you use Not Polish products, so I'm just showing you the stars she picked. Those first white ones there are glow in the dark, by the way, but I forgot to show, as usual, 2 things I forgot to do in this set. I forgot to file her edges once it was out of the lamp, and I forgot to show you guys the glow. Anyway, if you use Not Polish products, you know how they have that nice consistency where it gives you a little bit of pushback. When you put the bead on the nail, you have that nice kind of resistance where you feel like you can form the bead, and it's got that jelly-like consistency. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. Well, Chiarosky, when you're working with Not Polish and Chiarosky both, like let's say in the same set, if you've ever done that, then you'll definitely know what I'm talking about, because I do that all the time. I'm always using Not Polish acrylics, but I will use Chiarosky clear in my sets. Well, I completely have to change how I work with each of them, because as soon as you, right here where you place a clear bead of Chiarosky, you'll have that nice perfect bead. As soon as you place it on the nail though and get a little monomer in it, it just starts running. Lucy's does not do that. Acrylic Cure's does not do that. It performs the same as Not Polish. So if you know what I'm talking about and you've used Chiarosky clear and you notice right away that it just has a different consistency than Not Polish, literally once you start working with it, that runniness stops, and it becomes malleable, and it lets you work with it. Like, it's not like so runny that you can't work with it or it's annoying, but it's definitely something that you notice instantly as soon as you start working with it. But hers does not do that. It works just like Not Polish. I just love it. But with Not Polish, you know, there's some cloudiness that I experience. And so the glitters that we're using, I went through my glitter drawers. I showed her some of the blue glitters that kind of matched the blue that was still on her nail. and she chose these two. And then we're also going to be using that blue chrome foil I showed you that I got from Nails by Dev. I don't know if she still sells it because I got it probably like 2 years ago. See how this, oh my gosh. The jerking and jarring of the table is just part of this video, you guys. I'm sorry. It's just a little crazy. Again, some was her and some was me. So what was I saying? Yeah, we went through my glitters and just designed the set that way. So we just came up with it when she came in. We sat down, I got a piece of paper, I wrote down, okay, what do you want on the thumb? Solid red pixie. What do you want on the index and ring? We're going to do stars, encapsulated stars, all 3 of those kinds, and then red ombre. Now, something that's very different about this set, and that was a struggle for me. When I went in with the first bead of red, and she chose Red Lotus, which is a very, very bright primary red from Not Polish. I showed it to you guys a little while ago. By the way, when you're placing these glitters and encapsulating them, you need to make sure to constantly tap your sides. I mean, you'll see here that I'm just piling on the glitters and piling on the clear, and her nail has to be thick to do this. So I'll show you later how I thin it out real nice. And but what's really important at this stage of your work is just really tapping the edges and keeping your your acrylic that you are laying and the glitters tight to the shape of your tip. Because not only will it cause you so much filing at the end, but you'll ruin your glitters and your design because they'll be poking off the edges. Some of these larger stars do have little bits that poke out of the clear acrylic that I do have to file off, but it's so tiny and so minimal that literally if I hadn't told you, you probably wouldn't have even noticed it. I didn't even think of it. So when you have a large glitter like that, just get them on and keep your nail, like right here where I'm really, pardon me, constantly while I'm doing this, just pay attention to how I am and what I'm doing to keep these nails the same shape as the tip. Because if you get that out of control while you're doing this step, it's just it's not that you'll never recover. You can do a lot of filing to recover your shape, but again, you're going to ruin your glitter design. You're going to end up filing off your clear and getting into filing your glitter, which will look terrible. So I take a lot of time and effort to keep my nail, just like what I'm doing here, to keep my acrylic and glitter the same shape as my tip. So you guys, I don't mean to jump around, but when the video moves on to a new step or something I want to tell you, I have to change subjects. So in this video, I'm using Acrylic Cures Clear, and also pretty much every video use her red chrome dust brush, which I just love. It's like the perfect size and the perfect bristles, and it's red chrome like my Not Polished stuff. I love it. So I forgot to mention that. And then what I was telling you before I started doing this stage in the nails was something that's different that I did on this set and something that was a little challenging for me. So she chose a really bright red. Oh, now I have to stop the subject again. Here. What? Okay, so this one was over filed. So you see how all the acrylic is off of these nails. So I had just taken too much acrylic off of that one and didn't even realize. So I just finished the encapsulation, and then I'm going to put another foil on and soak it off. And I forgot to show, I think in the other nail, that this glitter nail, the middle one, also gets the blue chrome, which was so pretty. So that's what I'm adding here. If you're wondering what that is, I'm putting on there. It's the blue chrome foils, and it just filled in every little space and gave the nail such a pretty color. It was giving Spider-Man just a little bit when I got the red on, but the set looks really good. Again, trust the process. A lot of times that's what I have to think when I have Alma in my chair, is trust the process, because she'll often ask for a design or a color that I don't think are going to go together. And they're her nails, and every time they come out good, every time I post them, everyone's saying, oh my gosh, these are gorgeous. I showed them to somebody at Target yesterday, and the girl literally gasped. I showed her that set because she had on nails that were pretty ugly, to be honest with you. And she told me she had paid $125 for them, and the next day her bling popped off. And she said she loves bling, and the guy would not fix it when she went in the next day. He told her she had to make an appointment, and he didn't have any time. No joke. So when she said that, I pulled out my Instagram, told her I did nails, and she literally went, when she saw this set. So, again, trust the process. So, see this pinky here? The pinky, this is what the struggle I was going to mention to you guys. When I did the pinky, I did a normal ombre where I brought it down just like you do. You have to make an apex, you have to cover the natural nail, and you have to blend that bead down as an ombre. Well, the first thing she said, I asked her, I showed her the first red I laid on the pinky, showed her the nail, and her remark and reaction was that the red was covering too much of the stars. And I explained, okay, well, I have to blend it down or you're just going to have a harsh line and a hump. And like it has to be a blend because I have to do that. She said she didn't mind the harsh line and to just try to blend it best I could, but she really wanted the stars to show, which of course, that's like the whole design. We're trying to have stars here and we're trying to have blue, and she didn't want them looking pink, with the red. I get it. So for the rest of the set, I have to go in with dry beads on the cuticle area, prevent myself from my natural inclination, which is to drag and blend that bead down into an ombre. I have to make an apex. So you're just going to see me really doing my application differently. At a couple of points during this process, this Kiara Sky brush got on my last nerve because I'm having to get red right up tight against her cuticle. And I'm having to work with drier beads, and it was just bending too much. There was too much give in the brush. The brush had the bristles, the tip of the bristles were leaving marks in the acrylic that's just never done before. So I did get out my Young Nails brush at a certain point and just go in with it because that brush is stiff and does the job I want it to do. So you're going to see, you're probably going to wonder, and if you're used to watching my videos, certainly you're going to wonder what in the heck I'm doing with all of these cuticle beads. Why am I laying them dry? Why do I have a harsh line? Why is my ombre not there? Why am I patting and adding and making a big hump there and just blah, blah, blah. The nails turn out great. Trust the process. But yeah, it's a very different way of working. But I just really, really wanted at least half or more of her nail and the stars to show. And again, look how gorgeous that soaked off. Just bam. I did not think when I opened up those soak off foils that the cotton on the inside was large enough to hold enough acetone to soak off a nail, but it did. I'm going to make a little caveat to that. Now, this nail here, if you remember, I had already done I did the cuticle buffing. I took the shine off of her natural nail. I did all the prep on this nail already. So that is why you saw me just take my 180 side of my Tammy Taylor and very gently blend and take off the shine of the nail. So I'm going to go back in with some Kiara Sky primer only, and that's the only other thing I'm going to do to that nail because I already did all the prep to it. Let me see, what was I saying? Okay, yeah, that's all I was saying was I didn't want to over prep that nail. So yeah, you guys are just going to see me have the struggle, I guess, of like right here, it just would be easy to blend this bead down, but I can't. And the result, I did toward the second hand, like right here, okay, you can see how harsh that line is. So I have a decision to make. Do I take it down farther and add a little bit of blend? Do I just, blend it a little bit down? Because we don't have stars in this nail, we have glitter. But they all need to look relatively the same, right? So now I need to go in on the sides and add a little bit more to just make it match. And it was just, I wouldn't say a lot of work, but it was very different. And so it just looks and seems very tedious, and it was. But the result was what she wanted. And, me too. A lot of times, I'll tell you guys, a lot of times when I do a set, because a lot of my sets are encapsulated glitter and ombre over them. That's what people ask for, Pardon me. Tell me how it's winter and I have allergies. I don't get it, but yeah. It's 56 degrees here in Tucson, by the way. So it's not even that hot. The sun's shining all bright. I mean, not even that cold. So anyway, squirrel. A lot of my clients come for designs like this, and frequently, you guys, I think that my ombres do go down too far. And it's probably because I use like larger beads. I'm not real positive. So toward the second hand, I do see how this brush is leaving these dents and marks in my cuticle bead. And you know, if let's just say that was my last, all this jerking, oh my god, let's just say that was my last bead and I don't want to add any more there. Well, I have to now because there's marks there. Or I have to make sure to really, really get in there with my e-file, which you want to stay away from that area when you're e-filing, except to blend your cuticle and then step off. You know, you don't want to do a bunch of buffing and, you know, just be in there. Anyway, so I think I need to find a happy medium anyway with my ombres, because I feel like frequently they do go down too far and they do, I wouldn't say ruin a design, but they do cover up some of my designs. So, and also, you know, back to colored acrylic versus like nude, my clients are using colored acrylic. It's not like I'm blending down with nude, so I can choose a pale nude or a lighter pink or something to prevent my ombres from covering the design. It's usually burgundy, black, you know, a bright color. So it's just a drawback, I guess you can say, of working with colored acrylics. The sets turn out great, but it's hard work a lot of times. So, and on that topic, if there are any of you watching that take clients and use colored acrylics, so I think a lot of channels that I see, people who take clients, most of you do use a nude base and then do nail art on top of it, either bling, which remind me to go back to the bling. I have something to tell you guys about bling. You guys do nude, and then when the client comes back, you're able to remove that design and fill in with nude. So you don't have to do a complete takedown and design change each time, because the actual color of the set, the base color, is changing, like I mentioned in the beginning. So do any of you work with colored acrylics like I do and have to do a complete design change when your clients come back? And if so, do you charge a flat rate? Like let's just say at the beginning of this set, she comes in, we sit down, we're designing her set. Part of her set, when I'm quoting it, when I'm saying, okay, you know, it's going to be an ombre on every nail, we're going to have a pixie on the thumb, I'll do that for a blank amount of money. When you do that, whether you quote piecework or not, like there's 10 ombres, that's $3 each, that's $30, or whether you just do a flat rate, do you charge for the removal? Because I feel like I should not be charging for the removal when part of the set is, of course, I have to remove that. Unless you know, if you're changing from blue to red, completely changing your design every single time you're coming, and I mean Kendra, I mean Alma, I mean Shantae, and anyone, Kelly, anybody that comes, that's what they're doing. They're coming to me for these colored acrylic sets, and we're doing a redesign every time. Next time we come, I want Valentine's nails, and they're going to be pink, and today I have on brown, you know. So just, that's what I'm talking about. If you have to do that full removal each time, is that part of your quote? Do you charge separately for it? Do you set up the sets like so you don't have to do a full removal? Like, we're going to do blue today, but it's going to be light blue. So the next 3 times you come, you can go darker. We can do blue all 3 times, but we'll start with light blue, you know, and plan it out so you don't have to do a removal. Tell me what you guys do. I'd like to know, because I have not and do not and currently don't charge for the removal. But it's literally an hour of the process. I mean, not the actual acrylic removal, but the prep. Before I start even laying acrylic, it's a good hour, 45 minutes to an hour, before I actually start doing the nails they came for. So it is part of the set, and it is part of what I quote. When I say I'll do this for that much money, I do consider that, because it's my time, and it's my products, and it's my clients' time as well. They are sitting, you know, in the chair for that many hours. Anyway, yeah, let me know. I'm really interested to know if there are others who are watching my channel that take clients and that do what I do. A new set with colored acrylics each time a client comes. Okay, and back to earlier when I said that I wanted to add a caveat to that. Look at how amazing these Kiara Sky foils did a soak off. It does remain to be seen when, like, how well they do a soak off on more acrylic on the nail. Like, as you saw, I did have, the acrylic down pretty low. There wasn't much acrylic left on the nail to begin with. So I think if you just took the top coat off of a set and put those on, I don't know if it would do that good of a job, or you might have to go through, 2 or 3 of them, because I just don't think they hold enough acetone to do that. But that's just me. I don't ever do a soak off like that anyway. I prefer to take most of the product off with my e-file anyway, and pretty much when I'm at the soak off stage, I'm pretty much where I was in the acrylic removal process as when I put that on, if that makes sense. Basically, when I have a client put their hands in the soaking bowl, the acrylic is already down to that level anyway. So they're going to work good for me, but I'm not sure if they would work for like a full removal. So on this nail, so we're the 8th nail in, 8 out of 10, and one of them is going to be a full application of red. So basically, or 2 of them are, so it's like 7 out of 8 basically, where I'm doing an ombre. I finally decided to go in layers with smaller, wetter beads and see if that made any difference. And it really didn't. It really didn't make any difference in helping me do it quicker or easier. It did kind of make the blend a little better, but not really. I mean, it's red, It would be the same as ombreing with black, not that easy. And I did see that trick that Tao posted, that Johnny Nail Swag posted, if you guys know, where you put like a small bead of milky white first, but I didn't want to do that. I just didn't want any, I know about that trick and I know it works, but I didn't want any extra product on the nail, number 1, and number 2, I didn't want to add anything that might throw off what was already going on with these bright colors, if that makes sense. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can ask in the comments, or I don't know, maybe I can post it or link it or something. But there's a trick to doing dark colored ombres, especially when it's dark over dark, like black over red or red over dark blue, etc. So I think I'm going to let you guys watch the rest of this process, and I'll jump back on. You guys, look how this clear performs. It's just amazing. And you see I got some air bubbles in this, but they blend right out. And again, that is, by the way, in my last video I said, I don't know if it's, don't quote me on whether it's user error or not, that there are air bubbles in it. And Lucy did comment and respond to that yes, it is user error. So I thought so. If you get bubbles in your clear, it's you, it's the nail tech. And yes, this nail's really thick, but it has to be. But you'll see later how I get it thin. The little parts are poking out, but they won't be later. Trust the process. But earlier I said that Kiara Sky is my favorite clear, and thus far it has been, but I'm pretty sure I'm onto this Lucy's clear now, so I will be buying more of this if I run out. She gave me so much, which was so cool. But look at this. It works just like not polished, like perfect, except it doesn't yellow. It's not cloudy. It's clear as hell. Yeah, this is officially my favorite clear. Okay, you guys, so we are done with the application, and I'm going in with my secret little trick. It's not a secret because I don't gatekeep, but this is how I thin out the nails when I have done an encapsulation. Well, I basically do this on every set, regardless. So I noticed, back in the day when I was really first learning, during finish filing, when I was trying to get a straight, square, crispy edge, that I just couldn't get it. I'd see other people just turn their file this way or that way, and it just would never work for me. And when I learned this trick to thin out the free edge, that was when I was able to get the edge crisp. So if you're struggling with getting your free edge nice and square, thin out your nails. You're not going to get them. They're going to be like angled at a certain angle, or they'll look just angled. They won't be straight and crisp. As soon as you thin them out like this, boom, and all you have to do is file just a little bit and your edge will be super crisp. But also, if you have had to encapsulate a lot of items and you want your nails to be nice and thin, especially if you're working with a coffin shape, because at this point, these don't look like coffins, they look like squares, right? So I have some shaping to do on the side walls as well. So it's just really crucial to do this step. It just is so easy, it's so simple, and it does so much for your set. I mean, it just does wonders. It immediately crisps them up. And don't worry if you have, because I've worried about this before. Okay, I have a design under there. How am I taking away her tip? How deep am I going when I'm thinning out that edge? Am I getting into the glitter? Well, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I have, look how nice and thin and crisp that is now. When I have an encapsulated nail, an encapsulated nail, it's clear. It's mostly going to be clear. And so if it's clear, I'm putting a top coat under there. So that will seal that in. Just put a little, brush your top coat underneath there and call it a day. You'll be fine. I do this with every single set. I've never had any issues. No one's ever come back and said, hey, my glitter's peeling off from underneath, or nothing like that. So that's another trick too. The only thing I would say about this is if you have a really clear nail, like let's say you're doing, you can't do this when you have an icicle nail, like during winter or Christmas time when people want you to do that icicle design underneath. You can't do that. Obviously that would ruin it. Red bottoms, do your red bottoms last or something, I don't know. But don't sweat it. Don't stress if you're doing it underneath a set like this. And then I'm going in on a speed of 8. I just have this video sped up, so it looks like I'm going fast, but I was going pretty quick. And I'm really scrubbing at the nail because I went in with a 60/60 grit file, that filing you saw me do, which was only a small bit on this hand because I actually showed you my filing on the next hand. And I'm using my not polished medium safety barrel bit, my e-file on a speed of 8, because I'm trying to get the scratches out and I'm sealing the cuticle. I didn't feel like this was getting into the cuticle that much, as well as it normally does. Maybe this bit was getting a little dull. I've used it for a while, which is why I bought a new one in my last purchase. I have several of them, but I don't know. I don't really pay attention to where they are in the rotation. I sanitize them and I put them back with the others, What was I saying? So on this hand, I switched to, I don't know if it was my last unboxing from Not Polish or 2 or 3 times ago, but I did get a medium grit, that was a safe barrel. I can't think of the name of it, but basically it's like a panna bit, but Not Polish's version, and it's red, so it's triangle shaped. I'm really doing a bad description of it, but you'll see it coming up here. So the bit that I'm using next and on this set was a Not Polish bit, and it was extremely sharp. So I think this was one of my new ones. I can't remember when I got it. I don't know. I love this dust brush. So look how quickly my edges crisp up, and it's because they're thin, you guys. I never knew that. And yeah, right here I'm going to take off those points of the stars. You can't even tell. When you go in with a gel top coat, that will seal that up too. So don't worry about breaking your seal or your encapsulation. It's so tiny and so minimal. It's not a thing. Don't worry. So I'll let you guys watch this filing, and I'll be back. Actually, wait. I always say I'm going to let you guys watch, and then I think of something else. When I see that my video is like 45 minutes long, I think to myself, how am I going to talk for 45 minutes? I don't like a bunch of dead air either, But I always manage to talk through the whole thing. Oh my gosh. I've always been a gabber. My report cards used to say, talks too much in class. And that's just me. Anyway, I did want to mention or tell you guys, finish what I was telling you about the girl I met at Target. When I showed her the nails, I showed her my Instagram, and she said she lost her bling. And I've been talking about this on my channel, that nobody wants bling. Currently, none of my clients want any bling. And I have all these charms and everything to use and woo-de-woo. Anyway, this girl, she says she's obsessed with bling. She wants full bling nails. She doesn't know where she can go to get bling, and when she does, it falls off, blah, blah, blah. So I really hope she calls me. I have her number too. So I'm going to just message her on my next day off, which is in a couple days, and just say, hey, it's me. Just want to know if, you want to come in or whatever I'll say to her. But hopefully I can get a new client out of it, and one who likes bling. What do you guys know? So I can get that on my channel. Well, not just that, but to practice and use some of my stuff, and she paid $125 for the set she had on. You guys, they were flat, they were wide, just really poorly done, and I just felt bad for her. I don't know the money and everything, and then he wouldn't fix the bling. It's just ugly. Some of the things I hear and see that happen at the nail shops, I just don't get it. I just don't get how you can go to work every day and then go to sleep at night behaving and doing some of the things these people do. Anyway. All right, so we're almost done here, and I have her go wash her hands, and I have the, typical scrub brushes that I sanitize over by my sink, and I ask my clients to scrub really good around their cuticle areas, because even when they wash their hands, sometimes they come back with dust in that area. And Alma's the best scrubber. You can see my hand there showing her. I needed her to clean her cuticle area. So I'm going to use some Zule's Cluster Gel. You guys, just so you know, the reason that there's pixie all over the table and her thumb looked a little bit sticky already was because I had gone in with the Kiara Sky Gem Gel, because it's in a polish bottle and I could paint it on, but it wasn't thick enough. So for pixie, I didn't want to put something thick on because I didn't want the nail to be thick. But for pixies, and this makes sense theoretically, I just didn't think of it because I've only ever done one other pixie nail, and it was on myself, and I did use the Zule Cluster Gel because I didn't have the Kiara Sky Bling Gel yet when I did my pixie. You do need it to be a little bit thick because these are actually beads, and they need to have something to sink into, and just that, they need to have something to sink into. So I go around the edges and just make sure it's not on the cuticle area, and then you're going to want to just gently press them into the glue just to make sure they're like seated in there. And that's it. You're going to put it in the lamp. I had her do 60 seconds. When she comes out, we're going to do a top coat with Gloss It on all the other hands. Just the thumb got pixie. We're going to do some cuticle oil from Profiles Backstage in the scent Sweet Pea, I think. No. Goddess? I think it's actually Goddess. I don't know. I bought the Sweet V, the scent that V did a collab with them, and I don't like it. You can barely smell it, actually. It's just really, really, really light. But I love the Profiles Backstage oil because it's a dry oil, so it hydrates the cuticles, but it doesn't make them look like greasy, if that makes sense. And then when I'm done with the cuticle oil, I take a dry, clean paper towel and wipe off the actual nails so they don't look greasy or slimy in pictures. And then I do show you guys a tiny bit of how I set up for my final pictures, and then we're done. So you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome all you new people. I love seeing you here. More videos to come. I'm getting a little bit of time off because the holidays are done. So I've like 3 or 4 days off in a row, which I'm literally just already treasuring in my mind. So I'm definitely going to be in my nail room. I'm going to try to do some sets on myself or my practice hand, and I can't wait because I have so much new stuff I just want to dig into. So here we're going to do a top coat. And again, you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time, okay? I don't know what's coming up next. I'll just see you when I see you. All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye.